So my name is Ollie Christensen and I am with Callee AI, and I'm joined here today with James Excel from React Property. And James here, we created a demo for James. And what we did was look at the kind of two important functions within the property management and real estate industry of basically property portfolio. So when a customer gives their variables of kind of their desired property, we use Callee AI to navigate that. So looking at James's property portfolio, identifying these variables such as, the desired location, where the customer wants to live, also looking at the number of rooms within a house, and also the monthly costs. And by selecting those variables, we identified, when the customer called in, the appropriate property. And then we looked at the second function, which we implemented in the demo, which was booking the house viewing. So then the customer found the desired property. We then booked the house viewing, collected their names, contact information, booked it into the calendar where it checked the availability, and then sent a confirmation email with all the details for the customer in the next day. So without further ado, James, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi Ollie, yeah. So yeah, I'm James Excel. I set up React Property a few years ago. I do purely residential lettings, no sales. I'm a small agency, essentially just myself and a virtual admin at the moment. Been running a couple of years, first year part-time and just over a year full-time. So yeah, still small, don't want to get too big, predominantly concentrating on sort of high quality over high volume. But yeah, that's kind of where I am at the moment.
Nice. So can you tell us kind of currently, how do you communicate with your customers and what is the process?
So any properties advertised are advertised pretty much solely, well, all inquiries come in through Rightmove. So that's my biggest cost, and it's my sort of main way of advertising. So any available properties go onto Rightmove. I also advertise them on Facebook, Instagram, my website, but the inquiries 99.9% would come from them being on Rightmove. So if a potential tenant sees a property on Rightmove, there's two options they have there, which is standard across Rightmove. You can either send an email inquiry, which is what I prefer and what I try and push people towards in the sort of comms on the advert. But there's also a call now button, and a lot of people obviously just want an instant result. So yeah, they'll just call in. If I've got a few properties on, especially if they're popular kind of properties, then yeah, plenty of phone calls coming in. And as we discussed, obviously there's it's very easy to miss calls, and it's harder to get around to going back to a call as opposed to just answering it at the time. So yeah, that's how much. So yeah, that's how my inquiries come in terms of maintenance. I'm not sure if you asked me this then, sorry, but most of my maintenance for existing properties that I manage. So most of the lettings I do, probably 80% of the lettings are just let only. So when tenants move in, at that point it's back over to the landlord. So I'm just essentially like a finding service. But then the other sort of 20% of places I let are places that I've already had under management, or ones where landlords then from then on want me to look after them as well. So with those ones, any maintenance issues need to be dealt with, but predominantly the way tenants contact me is over WhatsApp. But obviously if it's urgent, if water's coming through a ceiling or something like that, they're not going to sit back and send me a WhatsApp message. Obviously they are going to call. So yeah, obviously I want to make sure I need to respond to those calls and not miss them.
And a lot of the times those kind of maintenance requests and calls can be out of hours as well, so it's not going to be within your working time. So you may struggle to answer those if it's 9 o'clock in the evening, or 12 o'clock at night when a pipe bursts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said earlier, at the moment I'm small. so it's manageable, but
Yeah.
I obviously am keen to grow, and
Mhm.
I'm aware that one man or any man can only do so much. So
Definitely, definitely. So when we first spoke and we first met each other, kind of I was on about the power of AI. So what kind of made you interested in kind of delving into the AI space and potentially adopting some AI like Callie AI?
well, obviously the call from you,
Yeah.
but just know it. Obviously everyone's familiar with the term AI, but I don't think many people, if you scratch the surface, have any real idea of what it actually means or what it can mean to them. So um, my experience of using AI in life in general, but especially within my business, was very minimal. So
Hmm.
um, I think I mentioned the only thing I've really done remotely AI related is generating property descriptions for my listings that go into Rightmove. So
Hmm.
yeah, just using ChatGPT to try and kind of save a bit of time writing a description of a property just by giving it some prompts. But yeah, back to the point. Yeah, made fairly minimal use of AI so far. So
Okay, yeah.
yeah, like I said, my business is pretty damn young, and because it's small and early days, nothing's very difficult to change. So
Yeah,
I'm sort of keen on getting things right, you know, from the outset, really.
definitely, yeah, definitely. And so when I showed you the demo and we
Yep.
interacted with the demo, what was your first initial thoughts? What was your impressions?
Just highly impressed. Just couldn't believe how sort of realistic
Mm,
the AI was, just and how much detail it could get, and how easy it seemed for the potential customer
yeah,
to talk to the is that is that where you sort of term it, to talk to the AI, to talk to Corley?
yeah. So
Just
kind of,
but it just didn't sound pain. It just sounded natural.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that's what we want. We want kind of it's just seamless. So
yeah,
to to automate that kind of very boring admin process of detail collection, to take that
yeah,
away and allow you to ultimately do what you do and show the properties, have that more personal connection in person rather than spending more time kind of answering the phone and dealing with admin procedures.
yeah.
So kind of on top of that, did you find that when you were going through the process or when we were going through the process that the inquiry was dealt with successfully?
Definitely, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's amazing how sort of called in as a potential customer, tenant looking for I can't remember what it was now, say a 3 bed property in a particular area,
Yeah.
and how Corley matched that to something I had available, and how
Mm.
just made it look very very easy. How you're able to yeah get it to find you something suitable, and then go through and book that into the diary. Yeah, seamless and efficient.
Perfect. Perfect. So kind of looking operationally, how many hours a week would you say you tend to deal with kind of detail collection and admin collection that Callie AI could do?
Yeah, to be honest, I I can't really answer that because it just varies week to week,
Mm.
and I've not really got I don't record sort of like time spent enough to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to put an amount of time on it, but
Mm.
yeah, a lot of time, dealing with email inquiries, and then trying to put those in, answering the phone. A lot of time wasters, which that's not something I thought of until I said that, but I think if you didn't have to speak to people, if they were handled by Corley, it might kind of like weed out potential time wasters.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably another use. But yeah, hard to put a amount on the time. Sorry, Ollie.
No, that's all right. I guess we flip the question. What could you see yourself doing instead of on the
Yeah,
phone?
exactly. Yeah. I mean, just kind of like, work for me, the way of growing the business is finding more landlords.
Hmm.
So that's gonna, my main, yeah, probably my main kind of goal really is going out and sort of meeting people, trying to find new landlords, or more likely exist like landlords that are using other agents, and try and
Hmm.
kind of like poach them
Yeah.
basically, or explain why they should give me a go as a small independent agent, as opposed to like a high street name where
Hmm.
they're not going to get the same level of care.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be, just be more going out and about, networking, yeah,
More
that
time
kind
for
of
you to
thing.
grow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, working, saying, almost sounds kind of cheesy, working, on the business less than in the business.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah, that's
definitely.
the, that's my kind of like goal really, is to be able to, anything I can automate, or get the, virtual admins, or not necessarily virtual admins, but admin people or
Yeah.
admin systems to do, so that I can go and try and find new business.
Great. So looking kind of long term at kind of the business value, by implementing Callee AI long term, which parts of your business do you feel like would really benefit from Callee AI?
Definitely from a demo, and for now, the main thing for me would be booking in, dealing with potential tenants, booking in viewings for properties.
Hmm.
Yeah. The fact that obviously the AI would mean that could be done, 24/7.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, it's predominantly done, during working hours. For
Yeah.
for me, as a small independent, fairly new, um, those working hours are probably a lot longer than the typical agent. Probably
Hmm.
not just a 9 to 5, probably more like a 7 to 10
Hmm.
p.m. But even so, there's only so many hours, um, that I'm going to be awake,
Yeah.
and wanting to work. So yeah, that's the out of hours. But yeah, even during the core working day,
Mm.
um, yeah, if I'm in the middle of a meeting, like like now, and my phone goes, obviously that's someone I'm not going to necessarily miss it, because it'll get logged, but that's someone I've got to then go back to.
Yeah.
Whereas I could be on a call like this, and then Callie AI could be running in the background, booking in my viewing. So yeah,
And it's the
that's the
same
benefit.
when you're in the field, kind of showing other properties to
Yeah,
tenants, and
exactly.
you get
Yeah,
a call. And if you think, how
yeah.
many
It does
times
happen.
do you do a
Yeah,
house viewing a day? That could be, it's quite a lot of calls missed potentially.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, like I said, so Rightmove does capture everything, so you can
Mm.
go back and look at the calls, and the emails come in. There is an inquiry manager, but it's a bit clunky, and then you kind of, that's time spent. But if they were dealt with as and when they came in, well, especially the calls, as and when they came in,
Yeah.
rather than having to call someone back, and then obviously at that point it's not necessarily a time that's good for them,
Hmm.
so they may not be available then. So then you got to remind yourself to call back again. So
Yeah.
yeah, obviously if you kind of responded at the time that they're getting in touch with you, then that would make a lot more sense.
Definitely, definitely. And so if we do a little comparison here, say you were to implement a full-time admin, a work employee, or a full-time time caller, compared to implementing Callie AI, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer someone who could, an actual employee that would sit there on the phone, potentially only, work 8 hours a day, or would you kind of prefer Callie AI that could run 24/7?
Yeah, definitely. Call AI makes more
Mm.
sense. Yeah, yeah. I personally don't, I don't really want to employ someone anyway.
Hmm.
So at some point, I guess I'll need to, but it wouldn't be someone for that for that role.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm already making some use of a virtual admin outside the UK, which is pretty effective. But again, that's obviously, it's human, so they're only available X number of hours a day, and yeah, they're not at the moment they're not dedicated to me, so I'm just employed so many hours. So yeah, okay for now, but yeah, like I said, this the Callee is, as I get busier, yeah, it's definitely something that I'm interested in.
Great. And do you think by implementing Callee AI, it would kind of give you a competitive advantage against your competitors?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, apart from responding to your meeting requests, I'm generally fairly fairly efficient and fairly good at responding to things. And not that I love my company name, but obviously you got to have a name, haven't you? And when trying to think of a name, react, like, with maintenance issues, for example, I like to try and react quickly. So same with inquiries for viewings. If something comes in, I'm kind of like sort of very dedicated to the landlords that I'm advertising properties for, to get them let as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
So I don't like to miss any potential, when I say customers, potential tenants for those properties.
Definitely.
So yeah, I definitely see it as an advantage.
Definitely.
And
so
yeah, as a competitive advantage. Definitely.
yeah, perfect. So kind of looking holistically, if there was one benefit, one thing that you could highlight from Callee AI and the demo that you had, what would that be?
I suppose probably already said it, but in terms of that particular question, the fact that is able to respond to, I can't remember the stats, but you said it's able to respond to like multiple calls at the same time.
Yes, 20 calls.
Sorry?
20 calls,
20. Yeah. Which, realistically for me, even kind of like looking a few years down the line, unlikely to get that many calls, at the same time. But even 20 calls within an hour.
Yeah.
If you just listed if I just listed a property that was, let's say, like a 1-bedroom flat, typically the most popular properties in a nice quality 1-bedroom flat in the popular area, if it was marked at if it at a reasonable price, at a popular time of year, then yeah, you may get 20 calls, in a day. So yeah, trying to respond to those, if you're not just sat there waiting for the phone to ring, if you are trying to go about your day, yeah, it's just not, not really doable. So days like that, then yeah, Callee AI would be brilliant.
And I can imagine kind of come, student peak times when students get back to university, how crucial that can be, because the amount of students that call up is insane.
Yeah.
And then so finally, go on, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, definitely. I mean, I haven't so far dealt with that many student nets, but I do some. But yeah, totally agree. And I'm seeing in a couple of weeks' time, I am seeing a group of other letting agents. So when I saw you the other week, I said I'll mention it to a few people I know. I haven't seen the people I had in mind. I haven't seen them yet, so I didn't want to just message them. I thought it's better, but we'll come across better face to face. But when I see this group of people, I will mention this, because they're all, I think it's probably 5 other agents, and that they're all at varying degrees, a lot more established than I am.
Yeah.
Or other than one, I think they're, one of them, for example, last time I saw him, he said, I think I saw him in June. He said in July he had 160 new tenancies starting.
Oh wow.
Whereas, for me, it might be like in 10 to 15 in a month, at my busiest time so far. So yeah, 100, if you imagine 160, that would have been predominantly students, because if they're all starting in July or August, that, as you can imagine, would have been largely students. But you know, at the other end of that, when those properties were all being advertised, kind of like probably earlier on in the year, you know,
Yeah.
when ready for the next student cycle. Yeah, can you imagine the, you know, the inquiries they would have been getting at that point. So yeah,
Yes. I was speaking to
so
a few, and they were saying they get calls, anywhere from 100 to 200 a day during the
yeah,
peak student seasons,
yeah,
and
there you go.
you can't handle all those calls. No one
No,
can.
no, definitely not. No. So that, yeah, I mean, if you could kind of get in front of some of those people, so
Yeah,
yeah, I'll be, you know, I'll be pushing it, mate, when I see them.
that'd be great. Yeah, that'd
Some
be
some of
wonderful.
some of them you might have spoken to already. The names, so there's Balloon Lettings, so
Hmm.
Ben, that's who I was referring to a minute ago when I said about the 160 new tenancies. So
Yeah,
he's by far the biggest out of this group. But then there's some other smaller, newer agencies, Front Door Lettings.
front door sounds
Um,
familiar there. Yeah.
yeah, Nook, NWOK.
Nook as well. Yeah.
Who was the other one? Zeno, Xeno.
Okay.
They predominantly do student stuff. So yeah, they're all like smallish independents.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're all potential customers for you. So
definitely, definitely. And you've kind of answered my final question, which was, if you were to recommend, or if there was another property management or estate agent to talk to you about Callee AI, what would you say? And you've answered it perfectly there.
yeah, yeah. I'm also seeing imminently. So some of my best referral partners, if you
Hmm.
want to call them that, are are small estate agents.
Yeah.
So I was about to say independent, but there's one I deal with who's about to start referring all their lettings to me because they do lettings themselves, but they want to just concentrate on sales.
Hmm.
But yeah, when I see him, I'm sitting down with him soon to talk about how basically what I'm going to give them to say thanks for, you know, what kind of kickback I can give them. But
Yeah.
I'll mention it to him as well. So
Perfect.
they are a high street chain called Hunters, so you
Okay.
probably see them. This is like a franchise thing.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'll mention it to them as well because
Definitely.
yeah, I'm not sure. I think you probably found this already. Like there will be a demographic where as soon as you say AI, they're probably just gonna like turn off and think, you know, I don't need it, or I
Yeah.
don't, I'm not prepared to try and understand it. You got,
Hmm.
I think your sort of target market is probably going to be more aimed at the sort of the younger companies,
Yeah, and that's kind of when
and
I
at
when
least
we
for now.
started the conversation. I kind of asked about, why AI, what's your experience in AI, because that ultimately kind of determines people's perception of AI.
Yeah,
And if I
yeah,
understand in that, then it means that I can start tailoring to some of the older companies, the older
yeah,
branches, that actually, your traditional operating systems aren't as effective anymore. We see this transition, and if you want to
yeah,
stay ahead of the competition, it's time to
yeah,
start adapting.
yeah. I think Ollie, um your pitch and you know where you come across is like really really professional.
Mm.
So I think it's probably just a matter of time. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure what. So I'm sure did you mention other sort of like sectors other than real estate?
Yeah, so
Or was that
kind of
maybe more down the line?
Corley is applicable to any sector really that has a high call rate
Yeah,
and has, very procedural
yeah,
operations in terms of, detail collection or booking appointments. So it
yeah,
could be, applicable to quite a lot of industries, but I'm right now I want to target the real estate industry
yeah,
purely because I know, especially in Bristol, the amount of calls come student season
yeah,
that real estate agents and property managers get because it's just unreal. And I've been, searching for properties as well during my time at
yeah,
uni,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
can't get through to anyone.
yeah,
You'll ring like two or three times over a day, you
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't get through, and
No,
you give up,
and
so you go to the
yeah,
next one.
people don't get back, and
Hmm.
I mean from you know from the opposite end, like I said, day to day, generally, you know, I'm not that busy, but I have listed some properties where the landlord's been insistent on setting a rent that I think is too low, and then you get, I mean, one place I did have 80 inquiries in a day.
Yeah.
So you can't, most of them being email, but you can't respond to them.
No.
You know, at best, I could sort of like just send everyone a one-liner saying, sorry, you know, you've been unsuccessful this time, but no one expects it. And that is obviously kind of like just, it's not really the best use of time.
No.
As much as I don't like not getting back to people, but yeah. Whereas,
and I know kind of when I was searching for properties, so I've searched for 2 so far in Bristol. So I had one in second year and one for my final year now in Bristol. And you would email and you wouldn't get an email back. So then you'd call, you'd go, okay, I'm just going to call straight away. And then you couldn't even get through to the call. So then you're like, well, so you go to the next property, and of course, you then have potentially missed a potential tenant for the year.
Yeah. So I can see it from your perspective, and obviously, you know, from advertising places, you know, the majority of the time, you know, you don't get that many inquiries.
Yeah.
But for some places, you do, and it's almost like first come, first served.
Definitely. And you know, if we could kind of equal that and have it so that you can get all the calls answered and get an array of tenants, and then from there you can actually pick out the most suitable tenant, would be far better for those who are letting the property and those tenants as well.
Yeah, that's something else. On that note, sort of maybe for like down the line, but you know, in that situation where you did have somewhere that kind of like was, you know, really really popular, you know, what could AI do to kind of like come up with like a preferred, you know, top 10 applicants to save you having to go and then kind of like, you know, getting back to anyone else.
I guess you could do it by variables. So you could say if it's a 4-bed property, let's say, you then kind of go through, you know, qualifier questions. So out of those 4, is it an all lads house? Is there 4 boys? Which in that case you may be a bit no. Or is it actually a mixture of boys and girls, or is it an all girls? And usually you find that a mixture of boys and girls works best in kind of student properties. Whereas an all boys flat, people tend to assume, or the stereotype is that an all boys flat is a bit messy.
Yeah, which probably not the case. Of just like I say, I haven't dealt with that many student places, but I've just had some guys move out, and it was pretty damn good actually for 4 guys. Whereas my experience with ladies is that they're a lot messier and dirtier than guys.
So you could do it based on qualifier questions and kind of go from that. And then, you know, based off of that, it can then, you know, filter out top 10 or top 5 that then you can have the house viewing.
So, but you know, something sort of else down the line, I guess, to maybe consider. Something else I thought of earlier that I'm not sure how you could try to do this, but at the moment, so I've got my VA over in South Africa booking viewings for me, and like I said, because it's fairly quiet at the moment, I've only been doing this for probably 2 months. So I've got all emails come in from Rightmove to a sort of set up a new new mailbox for them to go into that she can see, and I've given her access to my calendar, so she's responding to the emails that come in, not the calls, just the emails. And then if someone wants to view somewhere, she's able to see when I can do it. But what I've said to her is I don't want to be going to say like central Bristol 1 minute, then go into, let's say, Chiswick, and then go into Bedminster, and then back to Chiswick. So, you know, try and use your, as much as, you know, she obviously does know Bristol, but look at, you know, you got Google Maps, just look at where these places are and try and kind of like group things with logical kind of like appointment times.
So you don't have to be traveling so far between different properties.
So I was thinking, when it comes to Callee, obviously amazing that it's booking the viewings in, but it
Mm.
would be good. And I suppose, just thinking of the kind of feedback you probably get from elsewhere as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, same, what I just said, basically. You don't want to be kind of like amazing that it's putting the viewings in, but you need
You got to
time to
travel
get
to
from
the
A
other
to
side of
B.
Bristol. Yeah. So
Yeah, and if it can see that it's put, let's say, a viewing in Filton
yeah,
at 10 o'clock,
yeah,
and then someone else wants to view the same place, have that logic that sort of tries
mm,
to tag it. Obviously it's also dependent on what the tenant can do,
yeah.
but
So what
try
we
and
yeah, so what we could do is so like you said, you kind of plan your week ahead, a week in advance, like you said. What we could do is say, Monday you do properties just in Filton or closer areas. Then Tuesday
yeah,
you do properties in the centre, and then maybe, Thursday is just properties in Bedminster. So you can
yeah,
actually have specific days where you do all of those house viewings within the
yeah,
area.
yeah,
So you're not having to travel back and forth for those longer
yeah,
ones.
yeah.
So we could use that
Yeah,
kind of
it's funny
logic.
saying this. At the moment, I've got like the opposite issue where it's so quiet, and I've got a couple of more unique places
Mm,
where you're getting so few inquiries that I said to Daphne, the VA yesterday, so I don't care if you get someone who wants to view, I'll go and view it at bloody midnight if that's what they can do.
yeah,
But under normal circumstances, not want to be kind of like going all over the place.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Anyway, just a bit of constructive feedback.
No, that's definitely really helpful, and it means that I could get a deeper insight kind of into any challenges that you'd face, and that I can help solve.
Yeah, cool. All right, mate.
Well,
Well, yeah, hope that
thank you very
helps.
much.
No worries, man. I'm gonna have to
Been a
leg it, I'm
pleasure.
afraid. I've got to be somewhere in 5 minutes. Cool. Nice one. All right, mate. Well, have a
Perfect.
good
Thank you
day and
very
speak
much.
soon, all right?
See you. Bye
Cheers,
bye.
Ollie. See you, mate.